Don't let reviewer 2 block your tenure case. So recently I saw a post where someone said, reviewer 2 has ruined my chances of tenure. I don't want that to happen to you. I'm going to give you a few ideas on how you can prevent reviewer 2 from blocking your tenure case. Are you ready? Let's get started. First of all, the post in question said something like, I submitted an article. It's been under review forever. It was accepted by one of the reviewers and another reviewer rejected it. The journal editor rejected the article, and that was the final one I needed for tenure. And I'm going up for tenure in the fall. We don't want this to happen to you. We don't want you to get down to the last minute and be holding out for one specific acceptance right at the deadline. I have a few ideas. Here we go. Some fields are more book fields, so what I'm about to say may not be relevant to you in terms of the book publishing timeline. But don't wait until year 3 or year 4 to submit an article for your tenure portfolio or dossier, whatever they call it where you are. Articles can take a really long time from submission to acceptance and from acceptance to publication. It is not unheard of for that to take 18 months, 2 years, 2.5 years. I have an article that's going on 3 years in process. If you wait until year 3 to submit an article as your first article, it might be 2 years. If you have to apply in the fall of your 5th year or your 6th year, you're really cutting it close that article is maybe not even be published and potentially not even accepted by the time you have to apply. In most places, you need more than one article for tenure. That's not true everywhere, which we'll get to in a minute. My next tip is don't leave it to the one article to be your make or break thing for tenure. Don't think I need this one more article to ensure that I get tenure. You're going to need to have some cushion there. Some articles are just going to be rejected for whatever reason or revise and resubmit, and it's not going to have time to get approval before you need to apply. So submit a little cushion. So if you think you need 2 articles or 3 articles or 5 articles, and submit more than that in the timeline that you have to hopefully get enough acceptances and publications before you actually have to turn in your materials. Which relates to my next point, know the actual criteria and requirements for your institution in your department for tenure. It's notorious that this information is not made explicit, but your institution and your department probably have guidelines or some written expectations of policy. Read those policy documents as if your life depends on it because your job depends on it. So read those documents. Often they will not have explicit numbers, which we'll get to what you can do about that a little later. So first, read all the policy documents carefully and glean anything you can take from them. The next thing to do to figure out what exactly is required is to attend any programs, workshops, trainings, events around preparing reappointment materials or promotion and tenure materials so that you know how to present the information in ways that are expected in your department or in your institution. Attend any programs that they offer you to help you understand how to present your materials, what to include, and what's expected. And the third important thing to do is to actually ask people, talk to people in your department and outside of your department. If you have a department and then a college and then the institution, ask people in your department, people who will sit on your reappointment and evaluation committee, talk to them, find out what is the minimum expectation? What's the average? So sometimes they won't tell you a minimum, right? They won't say you need 3 to even consider getting tenure, or you have to have 4 or whatever it is. They will probably not tell you an explicit number if it's not in the policy documents. In that case, I recommend asking the sideways question, which is, based on the last several years that people have gone up for tenure, what is the average number of peer-reviewed publications that those faculty members have had? If that person won't tell you because they feel like that's confidential information because they were on a committee that reviewed the documents, then ask other people in your department who were recently tenured if you can see their materials, or just look at their CV and see how many things they had published within the time frame that they needed for tenure. Sometimes their CVs are online. You don't even have to ask them directly, but you can also ask to see their documentation, which is also going to help how to present in a way that is effective for your department and your institution. The next tip I have for you, when you're preparing your evaluation documents, always be explicit in the relevance of your work and the significance of your work. and tie the information you're providing directly to the guidelines and the document materials that you have for what is expected at your institution. You need to tie your work directly to the actual standards and wording in the evaluation forms, in the policy documents, in any rubrics or matrix that you have that tells you what the expectations are. If it says that your work needs to have an impact, then you need to talk about the impact of that work. Why was this publication significant? Why was it important? What was the reach of it? Some disciplines and departments are much more concerned with the number of downloads and index scores and things like that. If that's really important to your field, then you need to make it really clear and easy for your committee members to find that information and see it documented in a clearly understandable format. So in a table or chart or something like that. So remember to be explicit on how your work is relevant and significant to the expectations of your department and your tenure requirements and to your field as a whole. Why is your work important and what are you providing by having it out there? So what's the significance? So don't let a review or two block your chances for tenure. Start submitting early and often. And if you need any help with that, reach out. I've got some resources. I also have individual one-on-one coaching to help you keep moving forward on your publication pipeline or to even map out your publication pipeline. I'm Dr. Kimberly J. Hale, faculty success coach, and I'm here to support you achieve tenure or success, whatever that looks like for you.